So you have been abused, maltreated, harassed, and stalked. You feel that you fell prey to a narcissistic psychopath, but you must move from victim to survivor. No one will do it for you. Not your therapist, not your best friend, not your closest family. Only you can choose survival over victimhood. There are a few steps to this. The first one is to abandon the narcissist. The narcissist initiates his own abandonment because of his fear of it. He is so terrified of losing his sources of supply and of being emotionally hurt that he would rather control, master, or direct the potentially destabilizing situation by causing, precipitating, and engendering his own abandonment. Remember, the personality of the narcissist has a low level of organization. It's chaotic and precariously balanced. Being abandoned could cause a narcissistic injury so grave that the whole edifice of the narcissist can come crumbling down. Narcissists usually entertain suicidal ideation in such cases. But if the narcissist has initiated and directed his own abandonment, if it is perceived by him as a goal that he had set for himself, he can and does avoid all these untoward consequences. The next step is moving on. To preserve one's mental health, one must abandon the narcissist. I have said that, but one must also move on. Moving on is a process, not a decision nor an event. First, one has to acknowledge and accept painful reality. Such acceptance is a volcanic, shattering, agonizing series of nibbling thoughts and strong, intrusive resistances. Once the battle is won and fresh and harsh realities have been assimilated, one can move on to the learning phase. What is a learning phase? We label everything around us and everyone around us. We educate ourselves, compare experiences, digest, have insights, then decide, and then act. This is what it means to move on. Having gathered sufficient emotional sustenance, knowledge, support, and confidence, we face the battlefields of our relationships fortified and nurtured. This stage characterizes those who do not mourn but fight, do not grieve but replenish their self-esteem, do not hide but seek, and do not freeze but move on. Move on, move on, move on. This is your motto, your mantra, your keyword. But of course, abandoning anyone, especially the narcissist, forces one to go through a phase of grieving or mourning. Having been betrayed, having been abused, inevitably, we grieve. We grieve for the image we had of the traitor and the abuser, an image that was so fleeting and so wrong. We mourn the damage that was done to us. We experience the fear of never being able to love or to trust again, and we grieve this loss of innocence. In one stroke, we had lost someone we trusted and even loved. We had lost our trusting and loving selves, and we had lost the trust and love that we felt. Can anything be worse? The emotional process of grieving has many phases. First, we are dumbfounded and shocked, inert, immobile. We play dead to avoid our inner monsters. We are petrified in our pain, cast in the mold of our reticence and fears. Then, we feel enraged, indignant, rebellious, and hateful. And then, we accept, and then we cry, and then some of us learn to forgive, to pity. And this is what we call healing. All stages are absolutely necessary and good for you. It is bad not to rage back, not to shame those who had shamed us, to deny, to evade. But it is equally bad to get fixated on our rage. Permanent grieving is a perpetuation of our abuse by other means. By endlessly recreating our harrowing experiences, we unwillingly collaborate with our abusers to perpetuate their evil deeds. It is by moving on that we defeat our abuser, minimizing him and his importance in our lives. It is by loving and by trusting anew that we annul that which was done to us. To forgive is never to forget, but to remember is not necessarily to re-experience. Forgiving is an important capability. It does more for the forgiver than for the forgiven, but it should not be a universal, indiscriminate behavior. It is absolutely legitimate not to forgive sometimes. It depends, of course, on the severity or duration of what had been done to you. In general, it is unwise, counterproductive, to apply universal and immutable principles to life. Life is too chaotic to succumb to rigid edicts and rules. Sentences that start with "I never" or "I always" are not very credible or clever, and often lead to self-defeating, self-restricting, and even self-destructive behaviors. Conflicts are an important and integral part of life. One should never seek them out, but when confronted. Like and subscribe for more.